So Ex Machina is written and directed by Alex Garland, who in the past he's the novelist who wrote The Beach. He wrote a very good novella called The Coma. He did the screenplay for 28 Days Later, the adaptation of Ishiguro's Never Let Me Go. And now he's in a way, you could describe this as an auteurist film, because every element of it is inflected by his creative personality. So the story is, as you said in the interview with Donald Gleason, it's virtually a three-hander. Actually, there are more than three characters in it, but it is largely a three-hander. So Donald Gleason is a young sort of IT nerd who wins the first prize to go and spend a week in the remote home of his CEO, the guy who's made his fortune setting up the Blue Book search engine. The remoteness is actually Norway, although it's kept deliberately sort of non-specific. He ends up there and he's told very quickly that he's going to be there for a week. He meets his boss, who's brilliantly played by Oscar Isaac in one of two roles in films out this week. And Oscar Isaac, who's been described as sort of inflected with the Kurtz character, seems to have gone slightly native and seems to be slightly bonkers, is partying on his own, as far as we can tell, and says to Donald Gleason that what he wants him to do is to test his latest invention, give it the ultimate test. Here's a clip.
Do you know what the Turing test is?
Yeah, I know what the Turing test is. It's when a human interacts with a computer, and if the human doesn't know they're interacting with a computer, the test is passed.
And what does a pass tell us?
That the computer has artificial intelligence. Are you building an AI?
I've already built one. And over the next few days, you're going to be the human component in the Turing test.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that's right, Caleb. You got it. Because if that test is passed, you are dead center of the greatest scientific event in the history of man.
If you've created a conscious machine, it's not the history of man. That's the history of gods.
And that's a sentence which will be turned around by Nathan later on in the drama. So the film is a very interesting case and very enjoyable, very, very stylish, and I like it very much. There's a moment in it in which, so the robot, the artificial intelligence called Ava, is played by Alicia Vikander, and it's a physical performance that she has this human head and human hands, and yet the rest of her body is a sort of cyborgy structure in which you can literally see right through the artifice of humanity. And that performance is constructed both by her with her own sort of balletic physicality and also by Double Negative, the special effects people who've done a fantastic job in creating this sort of translucent sort of cyborg torso in which you can see the insides of the cyborg working, but it's very sort of understated. It's also very beautiful. There's this kind of bluish light and this symphony of whispered gyroscopic sound as she moves. And
I'm just going to write that one down. A symphony of whispered microscopic.
Gyroscopic.
Gyroscopic.
You know, it sounds like whirring gyroscopes.
Nice.
But you know what I mean. I mean, I know that you're taking the bit because that sounds pretentious,
No,
but actually, you know exactly what I mean. It's as she does these very, very sort of natural, but just her performance is just on that brink of natural and unnatural. I mean, if you imagine Westworld like dialed down 99%, it's like that, and it's a terrific performance. And actually, I think she's a brilliant actress. She's in Testament of Youth, obviously, and she appears to be in every release that's out for the next few weeks, and she is wonderful. Won the Kermode Award a couple of years ago for.
I'm sure she talks about that all the time.
I think she talks about it nothing else. So she's brilliant. The other two performances, you have Oscar Isaac as Nathan, who is this kind of bulked up, slightly bear-like figure who, when you meet him, he's punching a bag and he's trying to work off. He said, "I'm sorry, I had a really, really hard night last night, a really, really tired one on." And Donald Gleason says, "Oh, must have been a great party." And he says, "What party?" He's a man who parties alone. He's a man who is clearly, and you get that sense in his conversation that he has gone slightly off the map. He is lost touch with his own humanity, and something is there's something about him which is both self-aggrandizing and deliberately duplicitous, and you never quite know how to read him. And then you have Donald Gleason, who at the beginning of it looks like this most sort of wide-eyed IT waif, somebody completely lost in this extraordinary modernist architecture of his CEO's home. But during his conversations with Alicia Vikander's Ava, he starts to show his true colours. And actually, in a way, the film is, as you rightly described it, it's a three-hander in which you never quite know what anybody's motives are. You never quite know what anybody wants, what anybody needs, what anybody is trying to do. And actually, the central the central thesis of it is that one of the demonstrations of artificial intelligence, of consciousness, of singularity would be attraction. And the rules of attraction are very much brought into play. It's demonstrate, is a machine thinking? If a machine can be attracted and attractive, actually attracted is the more important thing. Can it itself, and this will tie us back to movies like Blade Runner, which wonders about whether or not replicants have souls and replicants can fall in love. It will tie us back to AI, in which there's that big discussion at the beginning of AI, in which William Hurt says the great challenge is to make a robot that can love and be loved, as some sort of demonstration of moving beyond what you just think of robotics. And then there's a question at the minute when Donald Gleason says, well, why did you why sexualize her? Why give her a gender? Why give her a face? Why give her this flirtation? Did you program her to be flirtatious? And the answer is twofold. The answer is, on the one hand, well, look, if we're talking about machines becoming natural, or achieving that singularity, every impulse in nature is in some way driven by reproduction and attraction, and you can't write it out. And that's important. And the second answer is, hey, it's fun.